stomp just all the hard as you can, and crank and hold the wheel hard left, and then just keep going until you panic.
I'm gonna panic as soon as I do it.
All right.
I'm gonna lose my shit. I can't do it.
Just go.
I can't do it.
Hard as you can, stomp it and go. Before the camera stops recording. Come on, you can. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video, and today I'm going to respond to your messages about the Hagerty article where they're saying that Hellcats are depreciating. And some of you are praising me. The messages I got were, see, you were right. You've been saying these things are going to go down in value forever. But I want to clarify. I do believe, I think I've pushed so hard that these are not collectors' cars and certainly not short-term collectors' cars, that there's been a slight misunderstanding in my position. And I want to make sure it's clear. Even though I've said it before, it falls by the wayside with most people who hear what I say. So here's what I'm saying. I believe the Hellcats, the Demons, the Red Eyes, the Superstocks, even the Durangos, Hellcats, I believe these are all very special and unique cars. They are fun cars. They are cars that you almost can't get the same exhilaration in any other car made anywhere for the price. You try to get that kind of horsepower for the price that we're talking about over the last, let's say, 10 years or so that these things have been around, the Hellcats I'm speaking of, and you're going to usually spend so much more money until the last 3 or 4 years or so when Stellantis got a hold of these things and they decided they wanted to be a luxury brand and they ran prices way up. So while Hagerty and others would like to say that depreciation has found the Hellcats, I would like to say, yes, we kind of knew that's going to happen. That's normal for cars, but it's a little bit blurry for us to take and understand if we just read the article and go, well, yeah, they're going down in value, because they're coming down in value from generally a pretty astronomical price and skewed prices over the years during the pandemic, etc., where we had very low interest rates, where Stellantis was able to raise prices, which rose used car prices as well. So while there is depreciation, I still believe that these cars have a stronger ability to hold their value than the standard car out there in the world, because they are so unique, they are so special. But there's some factors that with these cars that generally would not be considered in most cars that people would think are collectors' cars, and that is these cars are beat to death by people. They are ran really, really hard. They are beaten to death. They are put in takeovers. They are, donuts. They are driven so hard. I know mine was. Oh, keep going, do it again. Right. Hard again. No, go. Yeah! Good job.
Yeah, it's the race driver in me.
All right, now let's get the heck out of here.
The
Want to do it one more time? And for that reason, there are so many out there that will never achieve the prices that people think they will based on the pie-in-the-sky thought that they're collector's cars. I want to remove the whole belief that these are collector's cars. I think what they are more than anything is they're highly desirable, fun cars that are going away. And those of you like me that can't make the leap to Mustang, can't make the leap to Chevy, it would take serious therapy for me to do that, will always be seeking these cars out, whether be it used or new. And there's a price that when we see one for sale, used, if it's in good condition, we have a strong urge to purchase that car. Same with the new ones. Right now, they're so overpriced, and there's interest rates that are so ridiculous, and the dealers have gotten so stupid with these things with markups that, of course, we're not buying them. And I want to show you something on the screen so I can kind of explain what I'm talking about here without creating a misunderstanding that everybody with a Hellcat should suddenly wrap it in bubble wrap and keep it in their garage because it's going to be the greatest collector's item forever. I would like to help you understand what it really will be. And I'll just tell you real quick, it's going to be a car that will always be sought out to own by people who have the nostalgic love for these cars and what they're capable of. Meaning people like me that would buy one 5 years, 10 years from now because I remember how much fun it was and I would like to have that fun again. Remember, that means I'm going to drive the living daylights out of that car. So whatever you all are holding on to these things for, let's say, because they're collector's items, you've got your King Daytonas, your Black Ghosts, or even the Super Stocks. If you're sitting on them hoping they're going to dramatically appreciate in value and be worth so much money someday that you're going to be able to retire off of those cars, they won't, because you have to keep them in great condition at very low miles for that to happen. But let me share with you why what's happening is happening and why I wouldn't worry too much about the value dropping right now, because you probably have a car that's worth way more than any other car based on its age, miles, condition should be worth. Used Hellcats are still pretty incredibly priced when you think about it. You look at my red eye from 2020, you're still going to pay likely over $70,000 for that thing. And I paid $83,000 for mine. So we're talking about 4 years ago. And I will put on the screen what they're actually worth, because maybe I'm wrong, but I'm expecting you're going to pay really strong money for those. So even if they slide a little bit right now, I believe the reason is not just that they've been caught by normal depreciation. I believe that is part of the factor. That is a factor involved. It's normal. Cars should depreciate. But I do believe these things will hold better than almost any car out there. But they're not collectors. It's because for me and for many people, I would like to just purchase one to go do donuts in a parking lot until the tires are bald and fire's shooting out of them. Not because I want to put it in my garage and wrap it in bubble wrap. Other cars are for that. These cars are not for that. What about the Demon? Well, we'll talk about the Demon another time. I believe the Demons, I've said this forever, are worth more than MSRP because they're special cars. I don't believe they're worth $200,000. I don't believe they're worth $175,000. I think they're worth $150,000 to $160,000 depending on what they're spec'd out at. Well, I wouldn't pay more than $100,000 for it. Well, good, because no one's going to let you. That's just the reality of it. They're worth that much money because there will always be buyers who are willing to pay that. I believe people with money who don't care, who want that car, and remember when it was $300,000 or $200,000, and when it hits the 150 range, just like the 2018 Demons, when they hit the 120, 125 range, people start buying them. When they get below that, they're gone in minutes. They don't sit for very long, almost regardless of how many miles are on them, as long as the Carfax is good. So let's jump over to my computer screen, and I will share with you why I think this article came out. And I'm sure someone there is way smarter than me and figured this out, but it's interesting when you try to correlate the time periods and the events that have been taking place that we've all been living through with an article like this. All right, so here's the article on Hagerty, and I get some of you don't like Hagerty. I have no opinion here. I'm just reading an article. That's it. So depreciation has come for the Dodge SRT Hellcat. And of course, a lot of you are sending these things to me and saying, look, it's happening, it's happening. And yes, I absolutely believe that it is happening based on the actual statistics that's happening. But let's go to this graph and talk about, I mean, you can go pull this article up. I'll put a link to it in the description below. But this graph was what was interesting to me. When you jump in and start looking at what happened in 2018, and by the way, I mean, you go back to 18 to like 20, like the car markets weren't the hottest. You were getting power dollars. You were getting dealers, begging you to buy the cars and negotiating hard with you. These things made little sense to anybody other than, the crazy people like us that love them. And you look at just the normal trajectory. But what I want to get to, and this is, by the way, normal depreciation. If you watch my channel for a while, you know that when I bought my Hellcat in like January 2020, that it was a red eye, that thing, I went to CarMax just a few months later, and they offered me like 75 or no, oh my gosh, I think it was like 65 grand. It was some insane, massive depreciation for that car because they were just normal cars back then and there was no end in sight. No one knew when they were going to stop making them. Actually, no one ever expected that that day would ever come. It wasn't something we were thinking about back then. I mean, maybe we joked around that they won't be here forever, but they kept year after year after year making more horsepower, bringing out the red eye, bringing out the demon. I mean, it was nonstop, just pumping them out like crazy. And you can go to any dealership. I remember shopping for mine, and they were just lined up all over the dealership lot. And if you wait another week, more would show up, and power dollars were thrown at us to get us to buy those cars. But then we know what happened here. We just called this the pandemic insanity. And then the stupidity of the last call cars. So this is the last call run up. People were getting charged massive markups. People were flipping them. Which this, of course, all of this lifted the values of the used cars. So obviously, I mean, I knew that. I was able to get pretty much what I paid for my Hellcat Red Eye. And many of you have experienced the same exact thing where we just didn't lose any money on our cars this entire time, or very little, because the new prices were going up with extremely low interest rates, and that helped our used cars. So then you get up to June of 2023, and I believe right here, we hit the tip of the mountain, the peak of the market, when everybody finally said, yeah, dealers, you're stupid, you're crazy, we're not paying this. Whether it was a used one or a new one, it just got utterly stupid, and interest rates started to jump. Now let's look at what happened June 1st, 2023 with interest rates. So if we come over here and look at when things got kind of stupid, was June 2023 when we broke the average 7% rate mark for a 60-month car loan. So obviously we were all good going along, bouncing along here. And then things got to the place to where prices were so insane and interest rates reached utter insanity. And as a result, we said, we're done. We're not doing it. And that's when the dealers started to find out what it's like to own more cars. And which is why today, in July 2024, a year later, if you watch my last video, there are Hellcats over 300 days, a year and some more on the market, still sitting on the dealership floors asking stupid prices. Go watch those videos and you will see they're still sitting there. This is because they stopped selling them right around here. So you've got 300, 330, 340 day cars sitting on the market, and the dealers are holding on. They're still sitting up here thinking they're worth a bunch of money, but this is what's really been happening. And why is that? Well, let's go look at 2023, June 1st, 2023, when things really got stupid. So we looked at that. So June 2023, 7%. And what happened after that? Rates continued to go up, up, and away. And then what happened to values? Values started going down, 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 down. But Brad, what's that peak right there? What was that? That was February 2024, January to February 2024. We see this little run up. Well, here's why I believe, and this is just speculation. This is not me having any empirical data that I could share with you that would substantiate this. But I believe because of the demons were listed on the market as like Hellcat Red Eyes or something. Like when you look at a lot of the ads that were coming out, then you'll see they're still out there right now, where they're listed as like Hellcat Red Eyes, and then you'll see like, $200,000 for it. And you click on it and you go, it's a demon. All right. So it's not a, it's not a Hellcat Red Eye. So they were listed as Hellcats in a lot of ways. So I believe this is when we saw these cars starting to really get delivered. Remember? And as those demons came out, I believe that's what drove these metrics up, because so many of those were going on the secondary market and getting flipped and driving some big prices that would skew the average on even used cars because of the flippers. Now, I can't prove that. I just know that how data is mined and sifted and published sometimes can skew numbers, and I just have to guess that that's what it is. I can't imagine it's really anything else. And then everybody said, you're out of your minds. This has gotten stupid. Rates are really, really out of control, and this is starting to happen. And we've just gotten to a place where fatigue with the dealerships, fatigue with the interest rates, fatigue with the astronomical prices, and now here we are watching prices fall. But I believe it has almost everything to do with this giant run-up. You look at what happened with interest rates. Things were great here, and then boom, this just got utterly stupid. And that will kill values of anything, no matter how, except for houses for some reason. Those are still really strong. Definitely not going up in the pace they were, but still strong. But the cars, at some point, they had to settle down with crazy interest rates like that. So that's why I believe this is happening. I believe it's just gotten to a place of affordability, of where it just doesn't make any sense. Whether it's used, new, you're going to get those cars for less. So what does that mean? Well, in this article, they mention that they believe the time will tell, but this data presents a bit like the early stages of the plight of the Buick Grand Nationals that got parked when new. Hellcats certainly be collectibles in the future. I don't know. Yes, in the future, but here's the deal. The Buick Grand National is 37 years old. So we go back to 37-year-old Grand Nationals, and you've got average condition cars at 33 grand, perfect cars at 60 grand, 50 grand, 36 grand. You can see another perfect car at only 9,100 miles, 87 grand. We're talking about 37 years. So it took 37 years for these cars to get back to being worth, let's say the equivalent to 1987 of today is probably that price, that value of what it was new. So it got back to maybe what it was worth then. So let's go ahead and look at that. Let's go check out what, let's say 50, 60,000, 55, 45, $59,000 was in 1987. So the MSRP of a Buick Grand National, I looked it up, said around $15,490, which means it was probably $20,000. And who knows, maybe there were markups back then. I don't know. I was in high school, but let's just go back and do the math on the inflation calculator. So I put in $20,000 in 1987. Today would represent $55,215. So basically, the Buick Grand National, what it was worth in 1987 is what it's worth today. So if you keep the miles relatively low and you keep the car in great condition, then you've got a chance of getting great money for it. For example, 9,100 actual miles on the car, you're going to get max money for the car. Something with a little bit more or a lot more miles on it and more wear and tear is going to be worth less. So what do you plan to do with your Hellcat? And are you going to sit it in the garage and never drive that car? Because right now, if your car is worth $70,000 and you keep no miles on it, 37 years from now, you might be able to get what you paid for that car. But I'll tell you right now, in the meantime, there's going to be a whole lot of this depreciation taking place, because it's not going to be going up in value in 5 years. But Brad, the electric cars are coming. Electric cars are coming. Doesn't matter. If you believe Dodge isn't going to bring something back, then I got a Durango Hellcat to show you. And maybe it won't, but somebody will bring something back. Bottom line is the other thing I got to share with you is, as far as how many Buick Grand Nationals, said there were about 20,000 Grand Nationals. Well, Car and Driver, since there isn't really good numbers out there for how many Hellcats, they kind of estimate about 100,000 Hellcat engine variants, whether it's a TRX or a Hellcat Durango or a Charger or a Challenger or a Superstock or whatever it is. So you figure this is a very big difference, 20,000 versus 100,000. So you may not see this level of appreciation. So what's the end of the story for this? The end of the story is your Hellcat's not an investment. It's a fun toy, and have fun with it. Or somebody else is going to buy it from you for maybe what you paid for it at some point, or less if you can't hold it for 37 years, and they're going to go have fun with it. And that makes absolutely no sense. So this message is to make you go get in your car, find somewhere safe to do donuts, and rip the living daylights out of that Hellcat until your tires are bald, and then go buy some new tires and do it again. Enjoy your Hellcats, everybody. Don't worry about what the prices are. These cars are fun. They will hold their value better than other cars, but they are not investments, and I will even say they're not collectibles unless you could wait 30 plus years. And I don't know about you all, but I may not even be here by then. So I'm going to enjoy that thing today. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Dude, I did like a Kevin Harvick burnout.
I know.
He's the best burner outer ever.
So, look at that. Keep going. Good job. All right, stop. Let's get the hell out of
Okay,
here.
get the cameras. Get the cameras.